Welcome to the stream. Let me know your questions. Just getting the poll, Captain Poll, up at this minute. I'm not able to vote in my own poll, but I would have gone for Cole Palmer this game week. For me, it's actually between Cole Palmer and Jared Bowen, to be honest. Not going for Mo Salah. Need to be a bit differential because of my rank 1.5 million. Not great at this point. So let's update this and see. Yep, Jared Bowen is my vice captain. Jita Adwani, hi, need guidance, Rodgers to Mbumo or Jared Bowen considering hold till game week 30? I think both are really good options at the moment. Of course, we know about Mbumo. We know that he is the talisman for Brentford on penalties as well. But at the moment, especially if you want to be a bit different, I would definitely go for Jared Bowen playing up front, listed as a midfielder. He's on penalties at the moment, probably now with Paqueta being injured. Really, really good fixture for West Ham playing at home against Leicester. So if it's for the next 3 to 4 game weeks, I would probably take a punt on Jared Bowen. Can't really go wrong with Mbumo though, so if you want to be a bit aggressive, go Jared Bowen, but if you want to play a bit more defensive and protect your rank, then Mbumo is probably your guy considering his ownership. Game off. Thanks for joining in. Going for Palmer. Need to be aggressive in my mini leagues. Yeah, and this is the point. It's 12 game weeks left, and of course there's enough time to gain a lot of ground. But by captaining Mo Salah, you'll hardly move. And I actually think at this point, having Mo Salah and not really sharing for your captain scoring takes away a bit of fun in the game, in my opinion. So thanks, all the best for game week 27, Jita. Hopefully you will make the right decision. If you go Bowen, hopefully he can outscore Mbumo for the next few game weeks. My transfer this game week was actually to sell Morgan Rodgers to bring in Jared Bowen. So I'm definitely hoping that he will be successful in the upcoming game weeks. So my transfers ahead of game week 27, I sold Trent to bring in Munoz, and I sold Morgan Rodgers to bring in Jared Bowen. I actually think that Bowen can do really well in the next game weeks. Hopefully he can fire in game week 27 with a really good fixture playing at home against Leicester. Akash Kumar, bench 1 between Wood, Gakpo, Django. Kluivert, or should I bring Cunha for Gakpo and bench Django? Or roll my transfer, giving Gakpo for game week 28 for the Southampton fixture. I think that if you held Cody Gakpo for this long, I think that it's probably wise to just keep him. You're mentioning the fixture in game week 28. Good chance that Gakpo starts this game and Liverpool can do really well against Southampton. It's top of the league against bottom. I think that Gakpo is a hold at the moment. I would be a bit more tempted to just bench Django Utara this game week, to be honest. I think that he will probably start. I can't really see Evan Nilsson starting, but he was on the bench last game week and he will probably see more minutes going forward. So Django Utara, he will not be nailed on as Bournemouth number 9 going forward. So I think that he probably is the player you should bench this game week and possibly sell in the next couple of game weeks. Pietro Michelucci, Rodgers to Jared Bowen. It's my only free transfer and I'm most likely free hitting in game week 29. Should I do it? I know that if you're free hitting in game week 29, it's not really tempting to use your transfers on players with a blank. I did it myself. I'm on a free hit game week 29 strategy, but there is a risk that Rodgers don't play this game week. Hasn't done well recently, and I think that the opportunity, if you have the funds to just sell Rodgers to bring in Jared Bowen, I think this is a really good opportunity, especially if you have the free transfer and the funds avoiding a hit. I think it's probably a really good move. Had Rodgers out and Mbeumo in this game week, planning to go Cunha in, Wissa out next game week. Really good transfers, game of Mbeumo and Cunha. Solid FPL picks, nailed on and on penalties for their team. So yeah, makes sense to transfer them in. Pietro, thank you. I had assistant manager slots, so got back 1.5 and have 2.1 million in the bank. Yeah. This is possibly one of the positives of going with slots, that when you are done with assistant managership, you actually get 1.5 available funds. So yeah, selling Rodgers to Jared Bowen, I think that's really solid ahead of game week 27. I've done it myself. I had to make 2 transfers to free up the funds for Rodgers to Bowen, so I sold Trent as well to bring in Munoz. So the reason why I got Munoz in is because of the mentioned blank game week 29 free hit strategy. I wouldn't necessarily advise you to bring in Munoz if you're not going to use your free hit in blank game week 29, but a really solid transfer in if you're already planning to use your free hit. Cunha is the most transferred in player ahead of game week 27. Decent fixture, playing at home against Fulham. Bowen is the second most transferred in player. Last night he was actually not on the list, and Mbeumo had more transfers in last night, but during today Bowen, he has gone past Mbeumo and is now the second most transferred in player. 438 new managers for Jared Bowen. Mbeumo, third on the list, 320,000 new managers. Start Gabriel or Jared Bowen. I would definitely start Jared Bowen, especially if you must have a really strong defense, having 4 defenders in your team with a possibility to bench Jared Bowen. I would definitely play Bowen this week. Yeah, I'm actually considering captaining Bowen, so I would definitely start him this game week. Really good fixture for West Ham playing at home. They've been solid at home, and Leicester is not in the best form, so yeah. Would easily say play Jared Bowen and bench Gabriel. Surely there must be some other players in your defense that you would want to bench instead of Gabriel, but yeah. The most sold players ahead of next game week. Rodgers, 610,000 managers sold Rodgers. Yellow flagged. Not positive updates from Emery. He was talking about using his full squad, and that when someone's injured, others need to step up. So not really positive comments about Rodgers. So this was what made me just pull the trigger and sell him. Ahmad is injured. Decent fixture, but is not going to play Man United's fixture against Ipswich, and Cody Gakpo is the 3rd most sold player. Pietro Michelucci, I'm a Liverpool fan, so it's so difficult to bench Trent, but for FPL purposes, should I start Gabriel or Trent? My other defenders are Munoz and Cucurella. That's a really strong defense. I would probably play Trent. The thing is that if you have some attacking assets from Newcastle, I would probably be tempted to bench Trent. This is one of the reasons why I let Trent go this game week. Obviously, I needed the funds to upgrade Rodgers to Jared Bowen, but I have Gordon and Alexander Isak in my team, so yeah, really hard for all of them to get points. 2 attacking players from Newcastle, 1 defender from Liverpool. I would rely on an attacking return from Trent to have a decent game week, so wouldn't really want a clean sheet for Liverpool with Gordon and Alexander Isak in my starting 11. So I always try to avoid having my defenders and goalkeeper play against my midfielders and forwards. So if you have like Chris Wood in your starting 11, it would probably make sense to bench Gabriel, but if you have Alexander Isak, I would bench Trent. Cole Palmer is actually the bookie's favorite to score. So top 3 anytime goal scorer odds. Cole Palmer and Chelsea's great fixture at home against Southampton. He has been given 60% chance of a goal. This is actually pretty high. Haaland is 2nd. Haaland is usually on those lists. He has been given 50% for Man City's fixture against Spurs, and Salah is on 49% for their fixture at home against Newcastle. Alright, thanks. I have Isak but no Chris Wood, so that means start Gabriel. In my opinion, it would make sense to start Gabriel if you have no Chris Wood, but you're starting Alexander Isak this game week. It's like if you don't have your forwards playing against your defenders, you're like maximizing your points potential for that given game week. So if it's like you said, a close call between starting Trent or starting Gabriel, I would definitely start the defender that does not play against my forward. The weeks we're all aiming for in FPL, I had a couple of those earlier, not this season, but the game weeks where every player in your team returns. It's really, really satisfying, and this is really hard if you have your players playing against each other. So start Gabriel and bench Trent for this game week. I would just keep Trent, have him first bench and start him next game week. Really, really good fixture for Liverpool next game week, playing at home against Southampton, so potential for both clean sheet and attacking returns from Trent next game week. I know that benching a player with his price tag is kind of hard, but yeah, I think Gabriel is a decent option as well. So the thing is, for Arsenal defenders and the managers who are playing their Arsenal defenders, it would be really, really great for our ranks if Arsenal actually keep a clean sheet in game week 27, because this means that Chris Wood will blank. He's highly owned, really big potential threat to our ranks for non-owners. So hopefully Arsenal can keep a clean sheet in game week 27. That would be really, really great. Last big question from Pietro. When you captain your players, does the team you support play a part in who you captain? Asking because of the Palmer versus Salah debate. Well, to be honest, and I actually have made a video about this. It's called how to get a top 10k rank, something like that. It's on my page. When you find the time, go watch it. We'll be really grateful. But I'm not trying to let my feelings decide my FPL decisions. So if I like a player, I don't necessarily bring him in because he's good at dribbling or exciting to watch. I'm more focusing on the players that's most likely to get FPL points. So I'm a Man United fan, and even though I think that Ahmad is a great player, I didn't really bring him in, even though he was doing really well for a couple of game weeks and had good value. The thing is that my decision of going for Cole Palmer is that it's a really aggressive move. So if he does well, it will be great for my rank. Of course, the risk is if Mo Salah outscores Cole Palmer in game week 27, my rank will take another hit. But I think that Newcastle, they are the kind of team that actually can do well against Liverpool. We saw in the semi-final in the EFL Cup, they kept 2 clean sheets against Arsenal. Okay, Arsenal, they failed to score in game week 26 as well, but especially in the first game in the EFL Cup semi-final, first leg, I think that Newcastle, they were absolutely fantastic, and this was at a period when Arsenal did well as well. So Newcastle, they can put up decent performances, and hopefully they will do well against Liverpool in this game week. It's only 56 minutes left until the deadline. I'll go check it out. Thanks, Petro, really appreciate it. So it's like on this channel, I started doing live streams this season. I've created videos since last season. So I have a decent amount of followers. The thing is that because of time restraints, I don't really have that much spare time. I'm working full time and have 2 kids as well, so it's more like a hobby for me. I'm not putting out enough content to get the amount of watch time hours needed, so go check out the videos. That will be really really nice. When we take a look at expected clean sheets for game week 27, Chelsea, they are the bookies' favorites, playing, as mentioned, at home against Southampton. Really, really good fixture, and they've been given 44% chance of a clean sheet. Next on the list is a team that I can't really see it myself, but they have a good fixture, playing at home against Ipswich. Man United are actually second when we consider the bookies odds. So 37% of a Man United clean sheet. Arsenal, they are usually on this list. The bookies really fancy Arsenal's defense. They haven't been that solid recently, and when we consider all this season, they probably have been a bit unlucky when we consider their expected goals conceded and the actual amount of goals they have conceded. But Arsenal, they are third for their game against Nottingham Forest with 36%. So almost 10% between the top team Chelsea and Arsenal. There are a couple of games I'm really, really excited to watch this evening. Brighton against Bournemouth. I know that a lot of FPL managers have Bournemouth assets at the moment, especially their midfielders with Django, Tara, Kluivert, Semenyo. Decent amount have Kirkis in their team. Will probably start him in game week 27. So for me, having a differential in Joao Pedro, he looks likely to start this game week. Welbeck is probably out, so I'm really, really hopeful of something from my differential. Joao Pedro was really, really satisfying seeing him start against Southampton, and he scored and assisted, got 12 points. So really good outcome. Crystal Palace, I think that they are decent. There's probably still a lot of managers with their assistant managership still active and on Glesner, so I'm hoping for an Aston Villa win against Crystal Palace. I have Martinez in goal as well. At the moment I have Fabianski. I know that he probably will not play against Leicester on Thursday. Areola, he has started the last couple of games, so Fabianski's probably still on the bench, but I will just start Fabianski in case he gets the nod against Leicester. I can't really see Aston Villa keeping a clean sheet against Crystal Palace, so this is my reasoning for having Fabianski in my starting 11. Wolves against Fulham. I have a differential in this game as well. Anderson. There are so many new Cunha owners this game week, so if Fulham are able to keep a clean sheet against Wolves, that will be absolutely great. And of course, the last game today is Chelsea against Southampton. Cole Palmer will probably be my captain, so I'm really excited for this game as well. So a lot of interesting fixtures this evening. Let me know in the comments what fixture are you going to watch on your main screen today. What I usually do when there are more games on is that I usually watch the goal show, and I sometimes have two screens up, one game, usually the goal show on the biggest screen, and I have a second game on my telephone as well. It's really close in the captain poll. 50% voting for Mo Salah captaincy against Newcastle, while the other 50% is going Cole Palmer for their good fixture at home against Southampton. No votes for Jared Bowen. 12 votes for Salah and 12 for Cole Palmer. So, go and vote in the captain poll. My captain will definitely not be Mo Salah. I have decided to take the punt on Cole Palmer or Jared Bowen, so it's between one of them for me. I'm really leaning towards just keeping the captaincy on Cole Palmer. I know that he has blanked recently and it's probably not in the best form of his life, but we know that he is a really good player and fixture can't get much better. So Cole Palmer will probably be my game week 27 captain. There's still a slight chance that I move to Jared Bowen. The thing is, Bowen, really good fixture for West Ham as well, playing at home against Leicester. He will probably start up front and he is on penalties. I'm glad that I made the decision to sell Rodgers and bring in Jared Bowen. Let's take a quick look at his ownership. Still only selected by 6.7% of the managers, and he actually had some ownership, couple percent ownership at the start of the season, so some of those 6.7 is probably dead teams at this point, so it will be interesting to see Jared Bowen's effective ownership in game week 27. Charlie, hello. Thanks for joining in, mate. Have you made your transfers and set your team for game week 27? I think I'm pretty close. Will probably be as shown on the screen. 2 transfers made: Trent to Munoz, Rodgers to Jared Bowen. Last night I was considering selling Joe Pedro as well, but it looks likely that he will start. I will have an eye out for early team news. Brighton, they are playing in the early game tonight, so I'm not sure if we will get any news, but I feel confident when it comes to Joe Pedro's chances of starting in game week 27. I still haven't made my transfers and I'm a bit worried as I thought the deadline was 6:30. It's usually 6:30, isn't it? Last game week when we had the Friday deadline. Yeah, last time it was a 6:30 deadline on Friday. I can probably just roll my team, but also looking at bringing in a defender, as I don't think I get a single clean sheet this game week or mid to replace Django Otara. I think that if you don't really have a midfielder that you really want for this game week, I would probably just start Django Otara. I can't really see Evan Nilsson starting this game week, but I can't see reduced minutes for Django, but he'll probably start. Connor, why is the cartel doing Palmer over Salah? I'm not sure. I didn't really think that I actually thought Palmer was a differential at this point, to be honest. I haven't really watched what you're referring to as the cartel, but it took literally one Southampton fan reminding Raptor that they are bad, and that caused a chain reaction. Yeah, it's usually like this on those kind of streams with like 10k viewers. They're posting on X and stuff like that. Of course, it makes sense to Captain Cole Palmer this game week, even though his form hasn't been great recently. But I can promise one thing, it's that FPL Raptor have not made me Captain Cole Palmer. So please go watch my team selection video for confirmation. I posted it 2 days ago, and I was on Cole Palmer 2 days ago as well. I just think that sometimes fixtures can create form, and playing at home against Southampton, you can't get a better fixture at the moment. Yeah, I currently have the armband on Salah still. And of course, Mo Salah, he will be the most captain player. He is the safest option. So if you're satisfied with your rank, satisfied with your positions in your mini league, it makes totally sense to just captain Mo Salah for game week 27 as well. Even though I actually think that Newcastle can put up a fight. They're this kind of team. We saw this in the EFL Cup, as mentioned. Kept 2 clean sheets against Arsenal, so hopefully they can deliver against Liverpool as well. I will put some stats up on the screen. Just giving me a minute. That was a really nice transition. But this is the stats from the last 4 game weeks. Southampton kept 0 clean sheets, conceded 11 goals, 20 big chances, 33 shots on target conceded, and they have also the worst expected goals conceded with 9.94. So we can see that Southampton, they are the worst team in every defensive statistic. So yeah, hopefully the fixture can create some form for Cole Palmer. We know about his qualities. We know that he is on most set pieces and penalties as well for Chelsea. So yeah. I'm currently starting Joe Pedro and have one of Trent or Gabriel on the bench. Still not sure who to start. Do I bench Pedro to start both Trent and Gabriel, or definitely start Joe Pedro? I think that if you held Joe Pedro for all of those game weeks and all those blanks, I think that this is probably a decent week to start him. He's on penalties, will probably start for Brighton. So if you really want to play both Gabriel and Trent, it's not the worst thing, I guess, to bench Joe Pedro. He's been benched by a lot recently. He was benched by a lot of managers last game week as well, but he scored and assisted. He might as well do this again in game week 27. So yeah, I think I would probably just start the attacker. When in doubt, start the attacker. I'm looking at players such as Cunha for Watkins, Django to Neto, Nkunku Kudus or Konate to Kukurea, Fambisaka, Dorgu, Nori. All good options. I wouldn't necessarily be that keen on. I think we discussed Chelsea yesterday as well. When I think about the Chelsea attack, what we need to think about is that there are a lot of rotation between the players, and I think that Sancho probably will get a start soon, so I think it's really hard to predict Chelsea's team. Kukurea is probably nailed on, and a decent transfer as well. Watkins to Cunha makes sense, especially for those not using their free hit in blank game week 29. Something to note is Southampton are significantly better away for some reason. In 13 away games, they have conceded 24 compared to at home. It's 40 goals. That's actually significantly better at home, but I haven't really checked the stats for home versus away for Southampton, but they are so bad, so they're probably like one of the worst teams playing at home as well. In game week 27, they're probably without Bednarek as well, so I think that they will struggle against Chelsea, even though their form hasn't been that good. Have you seen Welbeck is in the squad today? He's been seen at the game walking in. I saw some pictures of Welbeck being with the squad, so of course. Last night I was really positive when it comes to João Pedro, especially after the comments from Hursler. I think João Pedro probably will start again this game week. We might see Welbeck on the bench. Hopefully we will see Welbeck on the bench. Let's have a quick look over at yeah, just seeing that now on the official Brighton X account, posting a video 40 minutes ago. Welbeck, he is walking into the stadium, so he's in the squad. Hopefully this means that he will sit on the bench and João Pedro still gets the nod. The predicted Brighton versus Bournemouth lineup has Joe Pedro starting up front, Mitoma out left, Minte right, Rutter behind in the number 10 position, Ayari, Baleba, central midfield, Hinchelwood, Van Hecke, Webster and Estepinian, and of course Verbruggen in goal. This was posted 2 hours ago, so might be some new information. Can't really see it at X at this point, but I think there are a couple of managers that's really interested to get some early team news. Joe Pedro, of course, and Rodgers as well for Aston Villa. Is he going to start? My gut feeling is telling me that, and after the comments from Emery, that Rodgers will get a rest this game week. He was talking about that all of the squad needed to step up when someone gets injured, stuff like that. So the best for me obviously would be if Joe Pedro started and Morgan Rodgers sits out this game week, but oops, what happened to the timer? I will correct. All of a sudden I just lost connection. Not really sure what happened. Need to get the timer straight. It's only, let's see, 28 minutes left until the deadline. I will get this on the second, so once the clock turns 33, I will get this back on 27. There. 27 minutes left until the deadline. The team on the screen will most probably just be my game week 27 team. Fabianski in goal, I know he will probably not start, so Martinez will come in. Gabriel, if Gabriel can keep a clean sheet, that will be huge, because at the same time as clean sheet points, it will also mean that Chris will blank this game week. So hopefully Gabriel can get something. Anderson as well, playing against Cunha, one of the most transferred in players, actually the most transferred in player this game week, Cunha. So if Anderson can get something, that would be great. Munoz, hopefully he can keep up his good attacking form. Gordon and Alexander Isak, tough fixture for them. One of the reasons why I'm keeping all of my Newcastle assets is because I will use my free hit in blank game week 29, so I would like to have them ready after game week 29. So decent fixtures for Newcastle from game week 30, and they have a double game week in game week 32 and possibly in game week 33 as well. So no option for me to sell any of my Newcastle assets, even though I know that a lot have sold Gordon ahead of this game week. Edwin FIFA, hello. Thanks for joining in. Are you ready for game week 27? Go vote in the captain poll. It's really close call. 44% for Salah. Cole Palmer is actually leading with 50. Jared Bowen, he only has 2 votes, so 6% for Jared Bowen ahead of game week 27. My captain will probably be Cole Palmer. Really excited for tonight to watch the Chelsea game against Southampton. The problem with having Cole Palmer is if he blanks tonight, it will be a really long wait until the Liverpool game tomorrow against Newcastle. I had Alexander Isak on Sunday, captained against Nottingham Forest. It was a joy to watch, especially the first half, of course, getting a brace. Bit disappointed in the second half that he got nothing, but decent game week from Alexander Isak. The problem was, of course, that Mo Salah, he outscored Alexander Isak in just 20 minutes against Man City, so exciting couple of hours, but luckily Mo Salah kept quiet for the rest of the game after his a bit lucky with the goal was deflected. It's not usually scoring from corners, but the shot went in and didn't really do much on Szoboszlai's goal, but it was a decent pass. Cheetah Adwani, 1 to bench from Hall, Huijsen or Castan. I will probably bench Lewis Hall. I have benched Lewis Hall myself. I know that he got 2 assists, close to get 3 assists last game week against Nottingham Forest, but we can't really expect him to get a brace of assists every game week. And in game week 27, Newcastle, they are playing against one of the strongest teams this season, Liverpool, so would probably bench Lewis Hall this game week. I'm last in your mini league, had a rough game week last week, tried to punt on differential captain and missed the Joao Pedro points. I think that last game week it actually made sense to bench Joao Pedro if you had other decent options. He was not in the predicted lineup actually for Brighton ahead of game week 26. He is in the predicted lineup this game week, so hopefully he can get a start this game week as well. But let's have a look. It's actually in the wrong browser. Let's have a look at your team, Edwin, for last game week. Let's see. TFS Classic YouTube. $69 points last game week for Edwin FIFA. Django Tara captain. I've actually seen a couple of others with failed captain punts, especially on Bournemouth midfielders. It made sense. They had a decent fixture, so good form as well, but At least you had Mbumo, Mo Salah, of course. You had Alexander Isak as well. Joao Pedro on the bench, I get that it stings, but I think I would probably make the same call, to be honest, seeing you have Rodgers, Mateta, Isak. Really strong team, probably a bit unlucky. 69 points. It's not that bad though. I had 77, something like that, so it's not a huge gap, but let's have a look at that league once more. 8 participants in the league. There's room for more. Just join the league if you're interested. The link is in the description. Join in. I think if you join now, it will count your score from game week 22. So just join whenever you want, and the league will be updated. FPL FOMO, he was in last night on the Q&A, doing great, 425 points. I'm actually not doing that well. 6 out of 8. Yeah. As mentioned, if you're interested, just go and join the Classic Mini League. I actually created a head-to-head league, made a mistake, so it was a button saying that the league was closed for entries after the game week. I think it was like 2021, something like that. So the league was closed for entries. Actually got a lot of PMs asking what was wrong with the league, so that was kind of disappointing. Could have been a lot more participants in the head-to-head league, but my dilemma is whether to transfer Rodgers out or just play Joao Pedro. Rodgers is a big doubt this week. If I roll, I play Joao Pedro over Rodgers. I think that this game week Joao Pedro is a decent punt, especially after the comments from Hersler saying that he really liked Joao Pedro as a person and a player, and that Welbeck is a doubt. Just a heads up, we know that Welbeck is probably in the squad. He's been pictured walking into the stadium, so he's there. I just have a feeling that Joao Pedro will get a new start with Welbeck on the bench, but I'm not seeing any concrete team news from Brighton. I had a look over at X. I will have a new look in a couple of minutes, but let me know if you see something as well. 17 minutes until the deadline. I think that it probably depends on your budget and how much you have in the bank. How much can you spend on a Rodgers replacement? I sold Rodgers this game week to bring in Jared Bowen. I really like him and his fixture against Leicester this game week. I like the idea that he plays on Thursday as well. Last game in the game week. Two free transfers, 1.5. So if you got Rodgers, yeah, I probably have to know what price you bought Rodgers as well. But if you got Rodgers for like 5.3, you're probably able to buy Mitoma, someone like that. Bowen is probably a bit... Yeah, you'll need another million to fund the upgrade from Rodgers to Jared Bowen, but there are a couple of decent replacements for Rodgers. Mitoma would probably be my preferred option, but don't necessarily see that as worth a transfer. Would probably just play João Pedro instead. If I sell him now, I'd get 5.3. Yeah, that was my guess, and I think that Mitoma is 6.4, isn't he? So that will be exact funds. Probably, yeah, Mitoma 6.4. Mitoma is in really good form. He has a fixture in game week 29 as well. And Cunha, insane expected goal involvement per 90 minutes, but he is a risk. Yeah, I was discussing the Chelsea attackers other than Cole Palmer earlier and yesterday as well. I'm just not that convinced that they are reliable FPL options. Madueke is injured and Joao Felix is gone on loan. Jackson is injured, so this is probably the best time to take a punt on a Chelsea attacking player other than Cole Palmer, but they have so many options, so it's like if you bring in Nkunku, he might be benched and Sancho might start this game week, so it's really, really hard to predict the Chelsea lineup and their attackers. So of course, if you're willing to take a risk, Nkunku is a decent option. His price is reasonable at the moment, but we all know Maresca is actually not a big fan of Nkunku. When everyone's fit, he's really down on the pecking order, so he's mostly been playing cup games so far this season, but of course it could be a really, really good differential, but for me, I'd probably just play Joao Pedro this game week instead of making a transfer, and just keep Rodgers on your bench and start Joao Pedro. 12 minutes until the deadline. Let's have a quick look over at X. Let's see. There's a couple of lineups posted. Let's have a look at this account. It's called Man United Screenshots Lad with 11 followers, so probably not too reliable, but it has Joao Pedro starting, Rutter, Mitoma, Minte. The same as FPL Perspective posted 2 hours ago, so no reliable team news or leaks from Brighton. They posted a video on their official account, so we know that Welbeck is in the squad. So let's have a quick Aston Villa as well to see if there are any team news from their camp. No confirmed team news from Aston Villa from what I can found. It's only 11 minutes left. I think that at the moment Aston Villa, they have some decent options up front. They have Mount, they have Rashford, Asensio, Watkins will probably start, so they can afford to give Morgan Rogers a rest. This is one of the reasons why I sold Rogers to bring in Jared Bowen. Edwin, okay, thank you. Good luck. Best of luck for game week 27, Edwin. Have you made a decision? Are you going to just play Joe Pedro and bench Rogers, or are you going to make a transfer? Should I sell Lewis Hall for Ait Nouri? I can see the temptation. A really bad fixture this game week for Lewis Hall. He blanks in game week 29. The thing is that you will probably want Lewis Hall back for double game week 32, where they have two decent fixtures, playing at home against Man United and then at home at Crystal Palace. So two fixtures for Newcastle in double game week 32. So if you don't have the possibility to just bench Lewis Hall this game week and in game week 29, probably makes sense to sell him. But if you can bench him, I would probably just do that. I will probably play my free hit chip in game week 29, so I'm definitely keeping Lewis Hall. I like Ait Nouri. He has a fixture in game week 29 as well. So it kind of depends on how many transfers you have at the moment and your chip strategy. Okay, thank you. No worries. Hopefully you'll get a great game week. As mentioned, Lewis Hall is a good keep if you don't have many free transfers. But if you have like 3, 4, maybe even 5 free transfers, you have the possibility to sell him this game week and just get him back for double game week 32. Just had a quick look over at X. Can't really find any news or leaks about Brighton's starting 11. against Bournemouth, but I've seen 3 different team predictions. Joe Pedro is starting in all of them. At the same time, we know that Danny Welbeck is with the team. The official Brighton account posted a video when they arrived at the stadium, so Welbeck is there, but hopefully Welbeck will start on the bench and that Joe Pedro will get a start against Bournemouth. 5 minutes left until the deadline. I have actually the possibility to sell Joe Pedro and bring in Cunha. I have the exact funds for that transfer. It would be for a -4, so I will probably not do it. Cunha is the most transferred in player, 640 new owners ahead of game week 27. Gabriel, Huijsen, Hall, Aina, Robinson, which 3 would you start? First of all, I would try to avoid having my defenders play against my attackers. So if you have like Huijsen, he is playing against Brighton. So if you have Joe Pedro like me, I would bench Huijsen. Hall would probably be on my bench. If you have Cunha, I would bench Robinson as well. So try to make decisions based on your forwards. If, like mentioned, if you have Cunha, bench Robinson because they're playing against each other. If you have like Mo Salah, maybe Diaz, Gakpo, bench Lewis Hall. If you're starting Chris Wood this game week, I would actually consider benching Gabriel as well. So let me know you're starting your front 7 as well. So it will probably be easier to give you advice on which defender to bench. Not much time though, only 3 minutes left until the deadline. Sorry for the silence, I'm just reading some interesting news on Brighton. Nothing I want to share. Accounts posting, I haven't really seen them earlier, but okay, so at this point I have 4 team predictions having Joe Pedro starting. If you have him, I would probably just put him in my starting 11, playing at home on penalties. The thing is that Welbeck, he is pictured on the official Brighton X account walking into the stadium, so he's definitely in the squad, but probably on the bench. I have Cunha, Wood, Alexander Isak all starting. So to maximize your points potential, I know that it's kind of a hard decision, but Seeing you start Chris Wood, it probably makes sense to bench Gabriel, but he's so attacking, so it's probably... At least bench Robinson, bench Lewis Hall, start Gabriel Huijsen and Aina, I'd say. Yeah. Play Gabriel, so much attacking threat. Start Huijsen, start Aina, bench Robinson because he is playing against Cunha, and bench Lewis Hall because he has really, really tough fixture. So, yeah. Make sure to make the right decisions. It's only 10 seconds left. Akshat Bani, hopefully you had enough time to bench and play the players that you wanted. Let me know in the comments what team did you end up with. I was talking about benching Gabriel, but seeing that you had Robinson playing against Cunha, it makes sense to just bench Robinson and Lewis Hall this game week. So Lewis Hall, he's on my bench, Mikolenko as well, and my hailed punt from game week 12, Buonanotte, he's last on my bench. I actually have Martinez on my bench. It will probably be in my starting 11 because Fabianski will probably not start for West Ham against Leicester. I'm starting Robinson, Gabriel and Huijsen, made last minute changes. Yeah. This means that you'll have Aina and Lewis Hall on your bench. Probably makes sense. Arsenal, really good team, will probably score against Nottingham Forest. We saw in the first half last game week against Newcastle, Forest did well in the second half, but Newcastle could easily have scored a couple in the second half as well. So 4 goals past them. I'm really hoping that Fulham can keep a clean sheet. I have not transferred in Cunha. I was considering selling Joao Pedro to bring in Cunha, but we know Cunha, he is the most transferred in player, so hopefully the most transferred in player curse can occur this game week and we'll get a Cunha blank. Henderson in goal, Robinson, Huijsen, Gabriel, Salah, Palmer, Kluivert, and Mbeumo, Cunha, Wood, and Alexander Isak. Really strong team. Who did you captain? My captain this game week is Cole Palmer. Tough FPL game week, honestly. I think that this is actually one of those game weeks that we can see some big swings. We usually get those in midweek game weeks like this. Tough FPL game week. Good luck, best of luck, Akshat. Thanks for joining in. So once again, no early team news from any of the camps. I was actually just trying to get some news from Brighton and Aston Villa. Actually, Salah captain, majority, yeah, it's the safest option, especially if you're kind of satisfied with your rank. It makes perfectly sense to just captain Mo Salah. He will be the most captain player and almost certainly close to 200% again. So maybe a bit boring, especially if you're not satisfied with your rank like me, 1.5, and need to take some risks going into and attacking the last third of the season. So Cole Palmer is my captain, Jared Bowen vice captain, starting Joe Pedro, Gakpo as well. Hopefully he can do something this game week. I have Salah benching Lewis Hall, Gordon and Alexander Isak. Tough fixture, of course, playing against Liverpool, but we know that Newcastle can do well against those big teams, as we saw in the EFL Cup, where they beat Arsenal 4-0 on aggregate. So 2-0 in both legs in the semi-final. Hopefully they can replicate something like this against Liverpool. Munoz is my transfer in. Jared Bowen as well. I sold Trent, sold Rodgers. Starting Anderson and Gabriel. If they get clean sheets, I will be really, really lucky. This means that both Cunha and Chris Wood will blank. So if I get clean sheets from Anderson and Gabriel, and if the Palmer captaincy pay off, I think this can be a really, really good game week for me. So Captain actually it dead race between Salah and Cole Palmer. 36 votes, 46% on Salah and 46% on Cole Palmer, 8% for Jared Bowen. So if you haven't done so, go and vote in the captain poll. Who is your captain for game week 27? It's actually even, 46-46 against Mo Salah and Cole Palmer. Jared Bowen on 8%. No confirmed lineup from Brighton. Just confirmation that Welbeck is in the squad. We know that because Brighton, they posted a video of Welbeck walking into the stadium. I still have a hope that Joe Pedro can get a start. Hopefully Welbeck will be on the bench. Aston Villa. Nothing confirmed from Villa as well. I guess there's nothing we can do about our team selection at the moment. I can't really see FPL forgetting their own deadline in consecutive game weeks, but let's have a quick look. Yeah, the game is updating at the moment. So the team that's on the screen will be my game week 27 team. hoping for some luck. Gabriel Anderson clean sheet will be huge. Attacking return from Munoz would be a really great start for the team. I don't really have that high hopes for Anthony Gordon. One of the reasons why I kept Anthony Gordon is because my chip strategy at the moment is to play my free hit in blank game week 29, so I will not spend a transfer on selling Gordon just to use another transfer to bring him back in for double game week 32. I really want Gordon to triple up on Newcastle in double game week 32, playing at home against Man United and at home as well against Crystal Palace. So double game week 32 will probably be the week where I play my triple captainship. So best of luck in game week 27. Hopefully you made the right captain decision. It's still even between Mo Salah and Cole Palmer. Really exciting night of football ahead of us. So as mentioned, best of luck, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Will probably be a Q&A the day before game week 28, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll see you there. Good luck and have a nice Tuesday.